So let me just put just 1 minute, guys. Am I live with you? Just let me know if everything is ready and you can hear me also. I'm just checking it out. Just let me know. I hope you're able to hear me properly. I'll put this thing a little bit down and hello, yes, I hope you can hear me properly. So our today's topic is isolated queen pawn, right? So let's see what we have today. I just need to write down the today's topic: isolated queen pawn structures. All okay, that's cool, that all okay is very good. Okay, I'll put it here. Today's topic: learning chess, isolated queen pawn. So now everything is set, guys. Our topic is also set, game is also set. There is lag. Is there any lag? Guys, I'm back. I hope I'm back now. Namaste. Can you see everything properly? Full lag? Okay, good to go. I hope we are good to go. Okay, fine. So guys, first of all, I would like to say that what is isolated pawn? Well, isolated pawn positions come from different openings. That's why we need to study the structures related to isolated queen pawn. Yes, that's cool. Okay, so guys, if you are new here, do like the stream. Okay, do like the stream so that more people will join us, because we are going to discuss about something interesting today. And IQP positions are very common, and from many openings the positions come. First of all, IQP positions means what? I'll just show you one or two examples here, like how it can happen from different positions. One very common example, like maybe you must have seen, like Sicilian defense. Okay, yes, Omkar. Namaste. So Sicilian defense. Okay, so in that case also c3 might be played, and then in such positions after d5, e takes d5, queen takes d5, d4, and immediately the isolated queen pawn position happen. Isolated queen pawn means the pawn in front of the queen's file. Okay, the queen's file pawn will be isolated. There will not be any other pawn supporting to that pawn. That is isolated queen pawn. Okay, it can happen from white side, it can happen from black side. There are numerous examples. I'll just show you different openings. Okay. It's very common to get, and yes, in d4 also it's very common. Like let's suppose we'll play d4 d5, then c4, then d takes c4 is one of the possibilities. E6 is also there. Okay, we'll see different structures, like knight c3, then maybe e6 will be played, then e3, then black will play knight f6, knight f3, then c5 will happen, and after bishop takes c4, c takes d4, e takes d4, again the isolated queen pawn position is there on the board. White is having the pawn on d4, there is no other pawn which is supporting the pawn, and this is the case. Okay, from other structures also we will see that it position might happen. Let's suppose you play c4, e6, knight c3 and c5. Here both the sides have the option to go for the isolated pawn or not. Let's suppose white also plays this move, then white can think, okay, whether to take the isolated pawn or not. In this case, if black plays knight f6, okay, for example, if he plays this move, then after d takes c5, then c takes, okay, wait, after c takes d5, e takes d5, d takes c5, bishop takes c5, you can see that again the isolated queen pawn position has happened, but from the black side. Okay, yeah, in different openings it happens, from many different openings, guys. It is not just like d4. We will be looking at different things here. One more thing I'll show you, like let's suppose it is very, this tarash opening, it quite like regularly it happens. Let's suppose black plays something like d4 d5 c4, very safe opening. Okay, knight c3, knight f6, the knight of 3 is played here. If c5 is played, then c takes d5, e takes d5, and now g3. Okay, g3, yeah, semi tarash also it happens, like g3, knight c6, bishop g2, then maybe bishop e7, castle. And now it depends, like here whenever you want to capture on c5 you can capture, and after this capture black will be the one who will be having the isolated queen pawn. So another thing, okay, this is like the d4 opening. E4 c5 we looked at. E4, let's suppose e4 e6 is played, then what happens? Okay, so d4 d5, then if this is played, then also c takes, e takes d5, e takes d5, and now c4. Again in this position after c4 there is a choice, like knight f6 might be played, knight c3, and at some point black might capture on c4, and again we get the isolated queen pawn position on the board after French defense, that is e4 e6. So well, is English opening not ideal for beginners? Well, it depends upon the study. I'll just say this thing, that whenever you are playing any opening, don't worry about the opening too much if you are the beginner. First of all, try to be good at other aspects of the game, because no matter which opening you are going to play, you're going to make mistakes in the middle game. You're going to make mistakes in small tactics. So work on those things. If you are a beginner, don't worry about the openings. Okay, forget about the openings until you become 1600, 1700 plus. Don't even think about the openings. Yeah, isolated e pawn you will not but get. That's why everybody talks about isolated queen pawn, not the king pawn. Okay, the difference is there. Okay, let's suppose after e4 you play c6. Here also you can go into the isolated queen pawn position after d4 d5, e takes d5, c takes d5, and now c4. Okay, again this thing, c4. Yeah, even if you play e6, knight c3, knight f6, here the choice is there from the black side when to capture the pawn on c4. Whenever he captures the pawn on c4, the isolated queen pawn will again appear on the board. So guys, the point of showing you all these variations from different openings, there are another many openings from which the isolated queen pawn position can happen. The only thing I want to tell you is, like, you need to study these structures. Don't forget to study the structures. It's not about the opening, guys, it's about the structure. Okay. It's not about the openings, it's about the structures you need to study. So guys, how many of you, I have one question, like which openings do you like? Not about the opening I'm asking like how many of you have studied a little bit related to the isolated queen pawn? Can you please tell me in the chat? Isolated queen pawn, how many of you have studied a little bit, or you have seen such games where the pawn on d file, it can be from the white side, it can be from the black side. You have seen some games you must have seen. Just let me know in the chat whether you have seen or not. Anything? I did not. Okay, even if you are not seen any game, we are going to see the games today. Okay, we are going to see the game, don't worry. Because did you understand this thing, that the isolated queen pawn position can happen from many different openings? Did you get this thing? That it can happen from different openings, many structures? It is a structure, it is not the opening, it is the structure. Did you get it? Okay, I studied, but I'm still worried to play positions like that. Okay, fine. So okay, you have understood this thing. Okay, now what we are going to see, not what we are going to see, like what are the things which we need to understand related to the isolated queen pawn position. Okay, I'm going to put one position which is very simple position. Okay, very simple position. I'm going to put it. This is the normal position. It can happen from white side, it can happen from black side. So as we have studied lots of days, we are studying about the structures, we are studying about the different piece composition. What do you think about the position? What is your assessment about the position? I will tell you three things you need to consider. First of all, we are already thinking about the pawn structure, correct? Now think about the piece configuration. where are the pieces in this position, like minor pieces, where are they, whose pieces are more active in this position. Think about it. Who has more champion, who has more space, whose king will be safe. Think about this thing. Think about it and tell me in the chat. I'll wait for you. Take your time and tell me in the chat, what do you think about this position which is there on the board in front of you? What do you think? Whatever is your understanding, just let me know. It can be anything. Okay, it can be anything. It is not white to play, black to play. Don't think about those things. Think from both the sides, white side also and black side also. It is said that playing with the isolated queen pawn means white side is playing with the isolated queen pawn, and sometimes you need to play against the isolated queen pawn. So think from both the perspective and then I will explain it to you after you have written your answers here. Okay, after you have written your answers. No, I'm not asking about better or who is not. No. I'm not asking about who is better, guys. I'm not asking about who is better. I'm just talking about what are the things are there in the position. From white side, I'll just tell you one thing, that white pieces are more active. That is what I will say. So like that, you should tell the things. Weakness, an opponent will try to attack. Also, knight will try to blockade. Only this come to my mind. Okay, Somnath has pointed out very nice and very important thing in this position, that the pawn on d4 is a weakness because there is no other pawn which will be supporting the pawn. And we know this thing, that whenever any pawn is isolated, if it cannot be defended by the pawn, then that pawn is a potential weakness. And as the pawn is in the center of the board, it means that many of the pieces from the other side of the board, those pieces will be attacking on the pawn. Okay, do you get this thing? Did you get this thing, that the pawn is a weak pawn in the center of the board? Guys, if you are new here, do like the stream, okay, because we are going to have fun today and it will be a more instructive stream if you support me by giving. Yeah, so another thing, like white's active, very good, very good. We have written, Ojasvi has written white have some space activity and black is quite safe and have better structure. Okay, Ojasvi has given something very important, like white has more space. Very good, because white's pieces can come all the way to g5. He has more space on e5 also. The knight can jump anytime. The castling will be done. The rooks are, so white has more space as well as white has more development advantage also. But again, one more thing is there which was pointed out, that black structure is very solid in this position. Even if, see, remember this thing, we are not thinking about white or black, we are thinking about the structure. That structure, what we mean is like playing with the isolated pawn and playing against the isolated pawn. So here black is the one who is playing against the isolated pawn, and as it pointed out, that black has a very solid structure. Look at the pawn islands. He has 2 pawn islands in this position. The structure is very solid, although black is playing in just 3 files. Okay, he is playing in only 3 ranks, but his structure is not at all damaged anywhere. This is very, very important. Very good. Yes, Ajit, you also said. Yeah, so I will tell you some more things about this position, that what are the things are there. So as you have already suggested these things, I'll tell you more things. Okay, so when you are playing with the isolated queen pawn, it means that you have more space, your pieces are more active. So I will recommend you one thing, that try to take advantage of your development as much as possible in the middle game. Okay, as much as possible in the middle game. Well, isolated Bhavani Shankar, I'll say that isolated queen pawn has pros as well as cons. So it is not like it is suited for anyone. It is usually the strong players in the world are whoever is more like experienced, or you can say whoever has more knowledge, they will play the position much more better. This is the simplest of the thing. Whoever studies it, whoever plays through these positions, he will play much more better. So you need to develop your understanding. That is the most important case. Okay, so what I was saying, like in the middle game, you should try to like maintain the position as it is, and you should try to take the advantage. Another second thing, as the position is like open, your pieces are more free, you should try to attack. One more thing is that your pawn is a weakness, so whenever you get the chance, okay, whenever you get the chance, try to play d5, okay, and exchange the pawn. Another thing is there that the central square, that is the e5 square in this position from the white side, is very strong square for the knight on f3. The knight can always come on the f3, okay. One more thing is that the pawn on d4, that is the isolated queen pawn, should always be defended by one of the minor pieces from the white side, okay, one of the minor pieces from the white side. Okay, now we will think some of the points from the black side, means the player who is playing against the isolated pawn. One thing is quite clear, if you go into the end game, then black will be the one who will be preferred, because of, for obvious reason, the pawn structure will be very bad from the white side, okay. So if you go into the end game, then it will prefer, means the side which is playing against the isolated pawn will be much more better, okay. Another thing is that from, if you are going for this thing, one thing is that a d5 square is a very good outpost for your pieces, because there are no other pawns which can dislodge the space which is sitting on d5 square, okay, which is sitting on the d5 square. That's why we should always try to control the d5 square if you are playing against the isolated queen pawn, okay. And one more last point I would like to say, that no matter how much white will be trying to attack on everything, you should always try to defend the position with all your pieces, because the coordination between the pieces is very important. Remember this thing, even if you are defending the position, even if you are attacking the position, make the coordination between your pieces as much as possible, okay. So all these points are good for you. I hope it is good, you have understood these things, and we'll be going to the game now, guys. If you understood these points, let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat, okay. If you understood, we'll go to the next one. Yes sir, very good. Okay, let's go to the next one now. And this is the position on the board. We are going to see a very simple example, okay. We are going to see one very simple example here in this position, that white is De La Villa Garcia, Jesus Maria. It's a very big name. He's from Spain, and his opponent is also from Spain. The tournament was played in the year of 1995 in Lyon, okay. So e4 was played, c5, c3. This is what I talked about in the starting, the Sicilian against Sicilian Alapin opening. This opening's name is Alapin opening. Yeah. Yes, I am on Unacademy also, guys. And if you are there, if you are not subscribed to the Unacademy, do subscribe. You will have lots of quality content there, and you will be able to learn a lot. I have already 2 courses on Unacademy. One is Art of Attack, and the second course, which is ongoing course, is the Art of Defense. So you can learn a lot in those courses, which are my courses, okay. So here d5 is played, then e takes d5, queen takes d5, and now d4. This is what we are going to play. And here it is quite obvious that white will be the one who will be having the isolated queen pawn in the center. This game is not at all complicated. First of all, I am going to tell you, this game is not at all complicated. We are going to see a very simple game, okay. So here knight f6 is played, bishop e3. As suggested, we should try to bring the pieces as quickly as possible, okay. Here e6 is played by black, knight f3. Well, Bhavani Shankar, I would like to say that it will be good if you ask me the questions which are related to the current topic, okay. I'll be very happy to answer them, but the other questions you can maybe ask me in the break time or something like that. Then I will be, because I don't want to break the flow of the topic, okay. I hope you will understand. Okay, I hope you understand. So c takes d4, c takes d4 is played, and on the board we have isolated queen pawn. Now the d4 pawn is an isolated pawn. There is no other pawn which will be supporting this pawn, okay. So now knight c6 is played, knight c3. Obviously we are attacking the queen on d5 square. The queen went to d6 square, okay. Okay, there are now plenty of things which are happening. Okay, so what is happening, I have shown through many arrows, but I'll just say once again, I'll tell you that in this position white will be very happy to play bishop e2 or bishop d3. He will develop his pace. Then the knight can always jump on e5 square or g5 square if it's necessary. The castling will be done. After castling, the rook will be having the e, this rook on a1 will be having the c pawn, and they will be put on the this e and c file, which are the open or semi open file in this case, you can say. Okay, so here another thing is that the queen can also come on d2 square, and if okay, if black makes any normal or the, you can say, the typical mistake like h6 or something, then you can see that the bishops which are pointing towards the king side will be very strong in that case. And another thing which I already pointed out, whenever you get the chance to play d5, you should try to get it. Okay, so guys, are you understanding whatever we are discussing today? I hope you are understanding. If you are understanding, do hit the like button. If you are new here, do hit the like button so that I will also understand, and you can tell me in the chat also. Okay, so here let's go to the next one. Let's go to the next one now, the next position. Okay, so here a3 is played by white. The idea is quite clear that knight e5 he wants to play. And one more thing here is, like as I mentioned, from black side. Okay, from black side the d5 square is very important. So black's usual plan might be to play knight b4 and knight d5 in that case. So white very rightfully plays a3, stopping the knight b4 knight d5 plan. Okay, this is very important plan which you should not forget. Okay, a3 is played to stop the plan. A3 is not played just because he wants to play like one random move. It is not any random move. It has some kind of a reason behind the move. Okay, so a3, then bishop e7, then bishop is developed. After developing the bishop will be eyeing towards the h7 pawn. Black castled, white also castled. So now we can see once again in this position both the sides have developed their pieces. Okay, from black side the only piece which is not yet developed, that is the bishop on c8. Once the bishop will be developed, the rooks will also be connected. Okay, so here black played rook to the d8. Now what will you play? My first question for you in this position, how will you continue with your development? Just let me know in the chat. Just let me know in the chat, how will you continue with your development? Queen b3. Okay, queen b3. Queen c2, rook a c1, rook f e1. Okay, queen c2. Sandeep is saying queen d2. Okay, fine. Rook c1 or rook e1. Very good. Yeah, all those moves which are related to developing the rooks are really good in this position. Queen c2 or queen e2 are also one of the moves which are. Queen d2, I am a little bit doubtful. Queen d2 is, I am a little bit doubtful, because here even if you go to queen d2, at some point you should understand that black is putting up his rook as well as the queen on the d file, and it is not that wise decision to put your queen on d2. If you want to put something, maybe you can put the rook on a to d1, because we need to attack on his, like we need to put some pressure on the d file also. So putting the queen on d2 is not that great. Okay, so rook e1 is a very normal move in this position. So black wanted to develop the bishop in this position, so he played b6. Okay, so his idea is very clear that he wants to play bishop b7. He wants to put the bishop on this diagonal. So usual plan can be rook c1, queen e2, queen c2 here, and the knight b5 will be attacking. Okay, so black usually plays a6 in this position afterwards to stop the b5 move. Okay, bishop b7 might be played, and our rook will come on c1 square, or queen e2 rook d1 is also one of the possibilities in this position. Okay, so here queen e2 is played. Here queen c2 is also very normal move. You can definitely play that move. Rook bishop b7, rook a c1, and then rook a c8. Okay, this is again a very normal move which you can definitely go for in this position. Nothing wrong to play even if you are going for this thing. But white player in this position, instead of going for queen c2, who developed queen e2 in this position. Okay, because he wants to play rook to the d1 square. Now bishop b7 is played, rook d1. Okay, and now these two bishops are eyeing towards the king side. Okay, so here in this position, my question for you from the black side also, how will you continue? Like, what do you think you will play in this position from black side? Because we are looking at the position from both the sides, not just from the one side. Okay, we look always go through the defense also and attack also, both the things we always consider, because that is the best way you can play the position, you can understand the position. How will you play from black side? Rook c8. Okay, Rajkumar is suggesting rook c8. Okay, fine, rook c8 is also good. He will put the rook on the, yeah, that is one of the case, queen c2 if you play. But most of the time, even if rook c8 is played, then the queen will drop on b1 square. That is also one of the plans in the position. So that is not completely a bad move. That is not completely a bad move. Or you can always come back to e2 square also. As long as you have the knight on c3 square, it is okay. It is also one of the moves. Knight g4. Okay, Ajit is suggesting knight g4. Bishop f8, knight e7, d5. Okay, d5 means knight to the d5. Very good. That is also one of the plans. G6, bishop f8, bishop g7. Okay, fine. So here, these are the plans which we talked about. I agree that bishop f8 is one of the moves in this position. But here, if you go for bishop to g8, then I will prefer knight bishop g5 maybe. Here, I will just pin the knight here, bishop g5. And your idea of playing knight e7 followed by knight d5 is not that much good in that case, because you need to take care of your knight. Okay, well, Abhishek, it is not a hard and fast rule that you have to exchange the pawn on d5 square. Okay, it is not very hard, and if it is possible, then you should do it. Don't try to force the matters. Don't try it. Just play according to the position. Just play the normal, or you can say the moves which will be helpful for your plan of action. Don't try to force it. Okay, don't try to force it. Like if d5 is not at all coming on the board, don't try to do it. If it comes, I said, like if it comes, then only play it, otherwise don't go for it. Okay, so here this is there. So bishop f8 is not that good. G6 is one of the moves in this position which black also played, but G6 also has some kind of weaknesses. Okay, h6 is also a possibility, but still, even if you play h6, then I will say that the pressure is still there on h6 square. Okay, yeah, g6. Well, Abhishek, I will like to say that you are writing the same moves again and again. So I request you to write down everything in just one line. That will be much more better, because you wrote 4 times g6 and you did not write anything else. So try to write it down only once. I can read it. There are very few people in the chat, so I can read it everything, even if you write down once. So rook c8 is another move which you talked about. It is also a very good move. Just developing the piece, just trying to bring the piece in the game. That is what you should do. So g6. Okay, g6 is something, but here as you can see, the bishop can always come on h6 square and it will be there. So basically, to stop this b1 to h7 diagonal, he has played g6 move. But white player was very clever. He understood that, okay, black's queen is there on d6 square. Okay, black queen is there on d6 square, and he needs to do something on this square. So this bishop is actually in front of our rook, so he played a very calm move in this position. Can you guess white's move here in this position? Can you guess white's move in this position? What do you think that white played in this case? Because as I was mentioning already, in this case white played something which is very useful for him. Let's see whether you can get it. He played a very nice move in this case, in this position. Bishop c2 or bishop b1. Yes, he played bishop b1 so that his rook will be opened up. Okay, bishop b1 has one more idea is there, that at some point d5 might be one of the possibilities, and also this bishop might be coming on a2 square to put pressure on this diagonal, because on this diagonal nothing is really happening, but on e6 the pressure can be built up because the knight can jump on g5 square, and this bishop can also come to h6 square. Let's suppose, okay, I'll just say that let's suppose in this position after some time you play bishop a2 as well as bishop h6 and he exchanges the bishop, the dark squares will be weakened in that case if the bishop is not there, and the e6 pawn will also be one of the weakness in the position. Okay, e6 pawn will also be one of the weakness in the position. So here rook a c8 was played. Now it becomes very clear that how you should play in this position. What will you play? I just talked about this move. What will you play now? Let me know. Okay, bishop a2 followed by d5. Okay, d5 is not the d5 is one of the ideas. Yes, bishop a2 should be played. Very good, guys. Here the immortal Ayush Rajkumar, you are absolutely right about this thing. Bishop a2 should be played here. Our bishop will be too strong. If we can exchange our knight for the black's white bishop, then we can definitely launch a deadly attack. Well, Bhavani Shankar, I will just say that the attacks will not happen just like that. You need to prepare for it slowly and gradually, because black also has some pieces to defend. Okay, black is not the one who is not having any pieces here, so but it will be a slow and steady race. That's what I'll say. So here in this position, bishop f8 is one of the moves which is a good idea, because black will be very happy to play bishop g7 in that case, so that this bishop h6 will not come, and if any move is also played, there will not be any attack on e7 square. So remember this thing, guys. Whenever the d5 pawn breakthrough is going to come, if you feel like okay d5 is going to come on the board, in that case you should not have the bishop on e7 square, because there is some indirect attack on e7 bishop. Okay, yeah, that's what he is doing here. So bishop f8 was one of the best moves in this position, but okay, black thought in this position that d5 is coming and his bishop on e7 will be attacked by the queen on e2. So that's why he played rook e8 in this position, which was not that great. His idea was obviously to play rook c8 ka d8, means rook c d8 he wants to play, but white understood that in this position he need to open up. So guys, what would you play in this position? If you simplify the position, then you will have lots of room in this position. Your pieces will be much more opened up. So how will you continue in this position? We have already talked about this idea. That's why I am showing you this game, that once you open up the position, then you will have more room. So how will you? How will you continue in this position? d5. Well, excellent. Somnath, you are absolutely right about this thing, that d5 should be played in this case. Once you play d5, but what about d5? Like after d5, what you should, I always talk about this thing, that you should not just think about the half move. You always tell me the one move, but that is not going to help you. Okay, d5 is okay, you can play it, but after that, what will black play? If black captures, then what will you play? At least write down the 2-3 moves. At least write down 2-3 moves. You will never be able to be a good player if you are just always thinking about one move at a time. Like just one move, if you are thinking one move ahead, you will not be a good player. If you want to be a good player, then your calculation should include at least two to three moves. Okay, it should include 2 to 3 moves. But why? But why you should play that move? That is very important. Like d5, calculate guys, calculate little bit ahead and then write it down. There is no hurry to write down the first move, that is d5. I understand that move, but whoever write down correct answer, I'll be more impressed. Okay, Bhavani Shankar has come up with something good. d5, ed5, knight d5, very good. Knight d5, knight d5, rook d5, or bishop d5 is best. Okay, fine, that is something which I will accept. Bishop d5. Okay, what else is there? Who else will be writing the solution? One thing is there on the board. He's talking about d5, knight d5, knight d5, ed5, bishop d5. Okay, Ajit has also written something here. Let's see what Ajit has written. d5, ed5, knight d5, rook d5. Well, d5, ed5, knight d5, knight d5, rook d5, very good. Okay, d5, everybody wants to play rook takes d5. Okay, fine. Bishop d5 is also one of the move. Bishop d5, which was suggested by Bhavani Shankar, is also one of the moves in the position. So yes, guys, you are right about this thing. Yes, so we will play d5. Absolutely, we want to play that move. And one more thing which you can see here, that not only that you are playing this move, even if at some positions, okay, not in this position, at some times, like white player will give up the pawn on d5, not to capture it back, but to get the square on d4 square. Okay, just to get the, very good guys, very good. Really happy to see all the answers which you are writing down. You should write it down like that. Okay, you should write it down like that. Okay, knight e5 is Rajkumar's choice, but I will say Rajkumar that playing d5 is much more stronger in this position, because your rook is already there on the d file, and it makes more sense to open up the position here. Very good. So here e takes d5 was played, then knight takes d5, which is already written by you, all of you here in the chat. Very good guys, very good. And now bishop takes d5 is much more stronger, as pointed out by Abhishek here, that the bishop takes f7 is one of the threat, because black cannot really play some random move here in this position like aces, because after bishop takes f7, the queen on d6 will be hanging. Okay, so here he played queen b8, he played queen d8. Now what to do here in this position? Here how should white play? Here you can see that already black is pretty weak in this position, because the dark square around the black king are very weak. The bishop on d5 is very strongly placed, it is attacking here. And look at these pieces which are sitting on queen side. Okay, these pieces on the queen side are not at all good. So how to continue in this position is very important now. So guys, please tell me, how will you continue? Not the one move. Okay, again I am telling you, you should write down the idea behind your move, why you want to play such and such move, and then write it down. Take your time, write it down, because understanding is very important. We are trying to understand the important concepts in the position. We are not in any kind of hurry. Okay, this is the point of doing the live stream, so that you can communicate with me. Because if I just want to tell you the ideas, like what you should be doing or something, I'll just record one video and I'll just put it. But I want to communicate with you. I want to see what you think about the position, because once you communicate something, you will understand it much more better, and it will be more useful for you also. Okay, okay, Harsh is suggesting bishop h6. Okay, fine, but why? That is also very important. But why? Queen c4, rook f8, knight g5 wins the critical f7 pawn. Well, maybe possible, but you should not forget that if you play this move, okay, if you play that move, your idea is to capture here. I agree. Rook f8 will not be the best move in this position, but I think, can I play something like knight e5? I can play knight e5. My knight is supporting the pawn on f7. The rook on c8 is attacking the queen on c4, and that is not a good idea. Your bishop on d5 will also be exchanged by the bishop on b7. So one more thing, one more time I would like to say that just because like you can play something, you should not play it. You should always think from your opponent's perspective also. I am repeating this thing every single day, that you should not forget your opponent, and that's what you are doing again and again. You are again and again forgetting your opponent. You are just thinking from your own perspective, guys. Chess is not played from only your perspective. The opponent is also sitting there, and you should think from his side. Okay, you should also think from his side. He can also play good moves. It is not like only you are going to do. It's like going on a road and thinking that all green signals will be there. No, green signals will not be there. Sometimes red signals will be there. Sometimes somebody will cross your road and you need to halt, something like that. So you should be careful. Bishop g5. Okay, you want to play that move. Bishop g5. Ayush is suggesting exchanging the bishop with bishop g5, bishop g5, knight g5, and rook e to bishop f7. No, you should not give up your queen, man. Come on. Why do you want to give up the queen here in this position? Who gives up the queen? For no reason. It is not a good idea. Okay, fine. So here bishop h6 makes more sense in the position, because after you play bishop h6, the threat here, in this position is to capture on f7. Okay, the threat is here to capture on f7. And then, okay, let's suppose what is the threat. If you want to understand, you should pass on the move to your opponent. Okay, very good. Century gamer is a bishop f7 create threat of bishop f7. Very good century gamer. Okay, very good. So bishop h6 to put pressure on the king. Yes, Rishikesh, you are right about this thing. Now the idea, just to understand the threat, we'll play one random move in the position. Let's suppose we play bishop 8, which doesn't have any kind of meaning in the position, because after bishop f7, king takes f7, queen c4 or queen e6 is basically, queen e6 is just going to be a check and mate. You can even checkmate with queen c4 also. This is also one of the thing. But okay, black will get some chance to play king f6, and then again we need to play this move. Okay, the game will go on. Okay, so here queen e6 is just top. So bishop f7 is the threat in this position, so black needs to be careful. Okay. Here in this position, you need to defend the pawn on f7. So guys, from black side, which move do you think is the best move in this position? Because we should always think defensive resources also from our opponent's side. Okay. So what do you think we should play from black side? Until you tell me the move, I will have some juice. Okay, I'll have some juice. Yeah, Rajkumar is right. Rajkumar is suggesting knight d8. Very good. Knight d8 should be played in this position. And now the bishop on d5 is being attacked. So what to do with this bishop on d5? Will you exchange it or will you play something else? Knight d8 is actually the best move. Rook f1. Well, rook f8, if you play in this position, the bishop will just capture on f8. And bishop f8 also, if you play, then here in this position, I think I can play queen, or can I just capture here? Yeah, I can just capture here, because if you capture here again, I can play queen c4. I even have knight g5 also. Knight g5 is also there, because if it goes back, then again I can play queen c4 check, king will come here, and now I have knight f7 check, king will come here, and okay, with discovered check we can win plenty of material. Knight d8, king will come here, and we can even capture on e8. So bishop f8 is not that great idea, because bishop takes f7 is still there on the board. Okay. Lychee. No, it is not lychee juice. Yesterday I was drinking lychee juice. Today I am drinking mango juice, which is my favorite. Actually, in real juice I like orange juice. Okay. So here knight d8 actually was the best move, defending everything, and this bishop on d5 should be protected with bishop b3 or bishop a2. Just maintain the position and carry on with your game. This would have been the best possible way to play in this game. So the thing is that if knight d7, then Queen e7 is a brilliant move. Okay. So here, instead of playing knight d8, black thought that okay, I will also create my own chances, and he played knight d4, which is also a very understandable move. Now, but knight d4, yeah, Sagar and me are very old friends. We are like childhood friends, and that photo we clicked it in when we went to Elephanta Caves in 2008, I guess, 8 or 7, 8 or 7, something like that. We went to Elephanta Caves. That time we clicked it. So it is one of our like oldest memories. We have more older photos also together, but in that photo other people are also there. That's why he put it. Thanks for reminding it. So here, uh, obviously knight d4 means he wanted to do something, but after rook takes d4, the piece is just gone. It was a big blunder from him. So bishop f8 was played, and now he just played one very simple move from white side. Can you please tell me the good move from white side? And the game was also over very quickly. So guys, yeah, rook d4. And guys, I would like to say that if you're understanding the things, then do like the stream. Okay, if you're new here, do like the stream. Yeah, I looked at Sagar Shah's thing. Yeah, rook knight d4 is not good. Rook d4 is the best move. Bishop e3. Yes, bishop e3 is a very simple move, and white is just piece up, and that's why he won the game. That's why he won the game. So these are the very simple things which we looked at today from this game, and I hope you are understanding also all the things which we are looking at. So we'll go to the next one now. We'll go to the next one, and next game which we are going to see is going to be a little bit difficult, I'll say, because the game which we are going to see was played by Kasparov and Ivanchuk. Okay, Kasparov and Ivanchuk, this game was played, and this game is little bit difficult because of certain reasons, but I still want to show you the idea why this kind of things are played in our games. Okay, why these top players play certain moves. We are going to see it today. Okay, are you ready for Kasparov's game, guys? Are you ready for Kasparov's game? I hope you are ready. I hope you are ready with the Kasparov's game. Let's look at Kasparov's game and try to understand how this great player played this opening against one of the great players, one of my favorite players also, Ivanchuk, Vasily Ivanchuk. Okay. Yeah, next time definitely we will have a session. Yeah. Kasparov's game we are going to see. So in this game, Kasparov is white, you can see, and Vasily Ivanchuk is black. This game was played in the year of 1999 in Linares tournament, and I'll just tell you, like in Linares, Kasparov was very convincing. He won that tournament multiple times, and it was one of the biggest tournament of that era, and winning that tournament is a big thing. Obviously Kasparov is a very strong player. He was already a world chess champion, but still winning the tournament multiple times is a big thing. Okay, so let's start with this game. The game started with d4, then d5, then c4, d takes c4, and now knight f3. Already we can see that this is queen's gambit, accepted opening is there, and the game might go into the isolated queen pawn. Okay. So here e6 is played, e3, just supporting the pawn, putting the pieces very comfortably in the position, and now black plays c5. His idea is obviously to capture on d4 square, and most probably white will capture on d4 with the pawn, and the pawn will be isolated. So here bishop takes c4 is a very natural move. a6 is played because black wants to play b5 at some point and develop the bishop on c8 to b7 square, so that it can exert some pressure on this diagonal. Okay, so white just neglected. a4 is one of the moves in this position which is completely possible. It is just the normal move, but castling is also one of the moves which Kasparov opted for in this position. So knight f6, then bishop b3 is played. Before black plays b5, white plays bishop b3. This is also one of the things which you can do. It is called as the prophylactic thinking. Another thing is that white is more developed because he has already castled in this position. Okay, so black is not having any weaknesses. Okay, that is also one of the thing. Knight c6 is played, knight c3, c takes d4, e takes d4. Now before we go further, I want you to think about the position and you tell me like what are the things you think about this related to the position. Before we go further, just let me know. Think from white side also and black side also, because the previous game which we saw was different and this game is little bit different because of the place position. Because in the previous game the bishop was developed on d3, but in this game the bishop is already there on b3 square, because in the previous game the bishop was transferred to this diagonal, but in this game the bishop is already there on b3 square. So think about the position and tell me what do you think about the position. And white bishop are active, rook will come on e1. Okay, Rajkumar is saying very nice thing, the rook is going to come on e1, the bishops are active. Very good, very good, you are understanding these things, very good. Anything else, anyone else? Can you please tell me? Take your time and tell me. Write down the moves. Okay, okay, fine. Black is not castled. We can have d5 break as soon as possible from white side. Well, Somnath is suggesting d5 breakthrough might be possible very soon, maybe. Harsh is saying like white pawn is lonely, can be attacked, and black can continue his promotion by repeatedly attacking it. Okay. Ayush is suggesting white has more space, bishops are developed, and black has no weaknesses. Okay. Very good. If you remember the things which we have looked at, very good, guys. White has more space, bishop pair, further in development, better king safety, and has IQP, active pieces, and especially white bishop. Black is opposite of the upper statements. Okay, he is very optimistic from Kasparov style, but I'll just tell you that this is just a normal position in IQP. Black is not at all very bad. He is having very solid structure. Okay, black's pawn structure is very solid and it is not so easy from white side to break the pawn structure. So here Ivanchuk continued with bishop e7 move. After bishop e7, rook e1 is played and he calmly castled in this position. After casting, the usual move is, what will you play in this position from white side? Just let me know. I'm asking about the move. Okay, now this time I'm asking about the move and you should tell me why do you want to play it. Both the things. Tell me the move and also the reason behind it. White to play in this position. A3, very good. Why do you want to play it? Black's knight a5, white will move a3 also. Yes, a3 should be played in this position. Yeah, not only knight a5, the thing is that knight b4 should be avoided. A3 should be played because the b4 square is very important in this case. Very good. Srinivas Sulu Gottipatti, I hope I am pronouncing it correctly. The b4 square for the knight is very important because, as I mentioned earlier, the square in front of the isolated queen pawn is a very important square for the black side. So black will try to play knight b4 followed by knight d5, blocking this pawn. Okay, that will be a very nice thing. That's why a3 should be played. In the previous game also we stopped that maneuver with knight b4, knight d5. Remember this thing. Don't forget. Okay. Remember. So a3, then knight a5. Even if you play knight a5, no problem. The knight on a5 will not be that good. Here bishop c2 is played. Okay. To put pressure on this diagonal. Okay. Again, now two bishops are there towards black king side. Here Ivanchuk played b5. Okay, now black wants to play bishop b7 in this case, and Kasparov understood the dynamics of the position very nicely. So he played a very nice move in this position. Can you tell me what did Kasparov play in this position? Can you please tell me? Okay, Ayush is saying bishop g5. Okay, guys, I will tell you one thing, that if you are new here, do like the stream, because if you like the stream, then more people will come and they will also learn something new today if they have not learned related to the isolated queen pawn. Okay, d5. Okay, but why? If you are going for the d5, then why do you want to play it? That is also one of the things. Knight e5 is suggested by Ajay Saju. Okay, knight g5 suggested by Ayush. Well, guys, whichever move you want to play, tell me the reason behind it. Like, why do you want to play it? Why do you want to play that move? Any move, whichever you want to tell, just tell me the, because there are plenty of moves which are possible in this position, which are not at all even blunders. You can play knight e5, you can play knight g5, you can play bishop d3, you can play queen d3. This is also good. You can play d5, which was suggested. You can play bishop g5, bishop e3. There are many moves which are possible in this position. Many moves. It is white to play. But why is my question? Why do you want to play it? d5 to exchange the isolated pawn. Well, to exchange the isolated pawn, okay, you should also think that what if he doesn't capture it? That is also very important. Bishop e7 is hanging with the bishop pair. Open position is better. Okay, fine. Takes further control of b4 and c6. Well, knight e5 is definitely a possibility in this position. Nothing wrong with knight e5. Bishop g5, queen d3, go for the king side. Okay, fine. So I will tell you what Kasparov did in this game. Kasparov understood everything and he thought, like in this case, queen d3 he wanted to play. I agree with you. He wanted to play queen d3 in this position and put pressure on this diagonal. But before he goes for that thing, he understood that the bishop is also coming on this diagonal, and he played a very nice move, that is d5. The idea is very clear. If you capture e takes d5 in this position, then he will play queen d3. Okay, he is not going to capture on d5, because here if you can see the d5, you cannot really capture it back, because here knight takes d5 is a good idea and white will be losing the piece in that case. So that is not the case. So after d5, what is happening? He has sacrificed one pawn. Okay, if black captures it, he has sacrificed his pawn. Another thing which is happening, the bishop which was coming on this diagonal will be blocked. Okay, will be blocked in that case. Another thing is that the knight on f3 will be having a very nice square on d4 square. Right, d4 will be a very nice square for the knight. Another thing which is happening in this position, that the rook's file is opened up. So these are the things which are happening in this position. That's why he sacrificed the pawn on d5. Okay, black did not capture it. Ivanchuk also understood these things, that capturing the pawn on d5 is not a good idea. But still, we'll see what is happening. So if you play queen d3, obviously we are putting more pressure on this diagonal. Then g6 might be played. Okay, let's see if he plays knight c6 in this case. Then bishop g5 with the idea of capturing on f6, followed by queen takes h7 is there. So you must play g6. And now in this position, white has a very nice idea. Can you please tell me? If you can tell me that move, then I'll be very happy. Just let me know what will you play from white side here. Let's see whether we can get it. How will you continue in this case? There is a tactical possibility in the position. You should not miss it. Rook e7, very good. Wonder Tal, he's playing like a Tal. Yes, goodbye, Shankar. Good night. Rook e7 is a brilliant move in this position because once you capture with the queen, the knight will jump on d5 square and the knight on f6 will be lost. So these are the intricacies of the position which are the tactical patterns are going to happen. That's why you should not go for the d5 move. Okay, the d5 move is means black should not capture on d5. Another thing is that if g6 is played, this is the best possible way to play in this position. Then we can play knight d4, and the knight is very well placed in this position. The bishop is also going to come on h6 square, and white pieces are more active, black pieces are not active. This rook is also very well placed, and all these things are, you can say, a good compensation for the sacrificed pawn. Okay, it is a very good compensation. So here he did not capture it. Ivanchuk played knight c4, and now the game converted into something else. Queen d3 was played. You don't need to capture on e6 or anything. You just played queen d3, and now rook e8 was played. After rook e8, here Kasparov thought, okay, I need to play on the other side of the board also. So he played a4 move, and after a4, okay, one more aggressive move can be knight g5, which is also there in this position. But here black, okay, this is the analysis. Is very complicated, that e takes d5 is actually the best move in this position. Black will be very happy to give up the pawn on h7 because he has g6 move, and the knight, if it just captures here, then after this exchanges, black will be very much in good position to defend it. After queen e1 check, queen f1 is the only case, and this end game, okay, this end game, if it's happening on the board, will be fine for black. It will be very fine for black because he is getting the pawn on b2 also. Okay, so here knight g5, even though it's good move, knight d5, like pawn takes d5 is one of the thing. So he started playing on this side of the board also. So a4, now black finally captured on d5, but now it is a little bit late because after a takes b5, what is happening? Can he capture on b5? Well, obviously he cannot capture. He played a a5 move, and now tell me, how will you continue in this position? Let's see whether you can get the way Kasparov is playing, because see, he sacrificed one pawn in the center of the board. He wanted to attack on the king side, but he shifted to the queen side because these top players understand where are the weaknesses in the position, and Kasparov was very quick to understand that the queen side is a weakness in black's camp. Okay, so let me know here in this position, how will you continue? Knight g5, okay, knight g5. Well, if you had paid attention to me, if you have paid attention to me, then you will understand that after the pawn comes on d5 square, I talked about that the d4 square is one of the square which knight can always occupy. Okay, he can always occupy. Very good. So knight d4 might be one of the possibilities in this position, but before he played knight d4 in this position, he thought the knight on c4 is also one of the important piece, and I should dislodge it. So he dislodged that knight piece, like with b3 move, the knight went back to d6 square, and now he brought the knight into d4 square. You can see the knight is ready to jump on f5 square whenever it is possible. Yes, very good. The immortal, you are going on the right path. You are going on the right path here in this position. Very good. Ankit Joshi also, very good. Okay, so here b3 first and then go for it. So knight d4, these pieces are active now. This queen is also there, this bishop is also there, and slowly and gradually Kasparov played in a very nice fashion. His opponent played bishop b3. Okay, now here if you just are going for queen h3 or something, that is definitely possible, but as I say like many times, that you should pay attention to your opponent's good ideas. So opponent's good idea in this position is to play knight e4, any of the knight he wants to play on e4. So to stop e4 move, what would you play? Here in this position, what would you play? Let's see whether you can get it. Which move will you play? Here the isolated queen pawn is from black side, okay, and that isolated queen pawn is actually causing trouble to black because the pawn is not allowing any of the squares for black's pieces. He wanted f3. Very good, guys. f3. Yes, f3 is a good move because we want to stop everything here. And then rook c8 is played. Again, Kasparov played a very nice move that is very difficult to understand, but he played knight a4. His idea is to, like, he wants to cover up on the other side of the board. That's why he's playing knight a4. Okay, he played knight a4. Bishop g5 was equally good in this position. Bishop g5 was equally good and nothing wrong with this move, but still, after bishop g5, Kasparov himself annotated this game in one of the book, and he said that in this position he saw a very brilliant idea from black side. So here what Kasparov thought, okay, I'm not saying like I thought it, what Kasparov thought in this position is like black will play one very brilliant move. That was, should I tell the move which Kasparov played in this position, means what he thought, why he did not play bishop g5? If you give me the permission, I'll tell you. Okay, I'll wait for you. I'll wait for you. I hope you'll say. Okay, okay. Let's think. Think. Here, Kasparov rejected bishop g5 because of one certain move. Okay, think about it. Think about it and then tell. Think about it. Means bishop g5 doesn't have anything wrong. Okay, it is not a big mistake or anything, but black has a very nice, interesting idea. He has a very interesting idea in this position. That's why he did not go for bishop g5. Yeah, knight e4 he thought about. Knight d4, no, knight e4. He thought about knight e4 in this position because the idea is the knight e4 is a very good idea because after this exchanges, okay, after this exchanges, the pawn is coming on e4 square. The bishop is also getting opened up. This is one of the best moves in the position. And if you capture on e4, then it will not be good for you because black can simply play bishop takes e4. If you capture it back, then he will capture it back. And even if you capture it back, then bishop takes g5. Is it a good idea or should you play something else? Let's see whether we can find it out. Let's see whether we can find it out. Which move will you play? Which move will you play in this case if it is played on the board, or is there any flaw in the variation? Because if you play bishop takes g5, then queen takes h7 is coming, and okay, we can still play like that, queen here, but here, okay, but here in this position bishop c5, okay, bishop c5 is suggested by you, but bishop c5 play, then the queen on d8 is hanging, okay, queen on d8 is hanging. Rook c2, okay, Mahesh is suggesting rook c2 in this position. Rook takes bishop is suggested by you. Very good. The bishop and the queen which is attacking on the king side, he's just removing that main attacking piece. This is what we even talked about in the previous stream also, that if your opponent is having any kind of attacking pieces, it is a good idea to exchange that piece. So rook c2 is a brilliant move. Very good guys. And if knight takes c2 in this position, then definitely we can just capture on g5, and white is much more better in this position because his pieces are quite active in this case. Okay, black is not lost. I'm not saying like white is lost, but I will prefer playing this position from the black side because this pawn is there, the bishop is quite strong, and white's pieces are not that well connected. So I will prefer this position from black side, even if the pawn like if you count the material, it is still equal. So this is the reason that Kasparov did not go for bishop g5. Okay, so he played knight a4, going away from everything. This is a prophylactic thinking. Now his opponent played bishop f8. Okay, his opponent played bishop f8, and now he finally played bishop g5. So how brilliantly Kasparov converted the isolated queen pawn which was there from his side to the isolated queen pawn to the opponent's side. Now black is having the isolated queen pawn, but his pieces are not playing. This is the main thing I wanted to tell you. Like sometimes the d5 breakthrough can come, but with some different ideas. You can occupy the square in front of the isolated pawn I was telling you, and that's what Kasparov did. For the sake of one pawn, he has got so many things. Okay. He got so many things in this position. So g6 is played. Now queen d2. Now rook takes e1. This is already a very better position for white because he has plenty of good pieces. Plus there are weaknesses in black's camp. The bishop is also not good. The pawn on b5 is also a potential passed pawn. Okay, now also it is a passed pawn, but in future if the endgame happens, then this pawn will be a very great asset for white. Okay, so here rook takes e1, then knight d8 is played to support the knight on this square, and now he simply he played rook e2. Very simple move, he is going for it. Bishop b4 was played, attacking the queen. And just going through the moves a little bit faster because we have understood the main concept, what we wanted to understand. And here the game continued. Rook c7, bishop d3. White is already having great position because the knight on d4 is superbly placed in this position. Okay, the knight in front of the isolated pawn is always a great piece because it can jump over to many squares and nobody is going to attack on that knight. That is the bliss of that knight. It is the outpost, but it's the best output for the knight sitting in front of the pawn, which is the isolated queen pawn or any isolated pawn. Okay, so rook e7 was played, queen c1, rook takes e2, bishop takes e2, queen e7. I'll just go through the moves because our main point of this game is over. He exchanged the queens because two bishops are quite good and the b pawn is also very strong. Knight d7, knight c6 was played, bishop takes c6, b6, and this position is already winning for white. Knight b8 is played, bishop b6. He's not afraid of anything. The thing is that if you play knight takes c6, then after bishop b5 the piece will be lost, so he cannot really capture the pawn on c6. Okay, so here bishop d6, then knight came on this square. The d5 pawn is a weakness. Bishop c7, he did not capture it, and now simply here in this position his opponent resigned because if you move the bishop, then again bishop b6 is coming, and then c7 is also coming. We can even play bishop g3 also. In this position white will play bishop g3 and he will be playing c7 very soon, and black will be losing the piece in that case. So your opponent finally resigned. Okay, finally he resigned. Okay, knight c6 is one of the moves in this position which might be played, but after that bishop b5, as I mentioned earlier, is still the threat because two pieces are in the same diagonal and black cannot really save the pieces. Everything is connected to each other. The knight is attacking the bishop is attacking this knight. If this knight moves, the knight on e8 will be falling. If the knight on e8 falls, then the bishop on c7 will be falling. So with this all mess here in this position, he resigned. Okay, the best continuation in this position can be knight b4, then knight takes b4, then okay, you are just losing. Like knight d6 is there, bishop will come back, a takes b4 and bishop takes d4. This is the best you can do, but still I'll say that the pawn on b4 is a weakness. The king is coming on c5 square very soon and the pawn will be queen. Very good. Yeah, so I hope you understand many intricacies about this game. You enjoyed. Oh great. Yeah, if you have a doubt you can ask me because I hope you understood these important things. If you have any doubt, please ask me guys. Don't be shy. You can just ask me. You can just ask me. The game which we are going to see next is okay, the next game which we are going to see, because in previous streams some of you asked me to show my game, and today I'm going to sir, is it good to play both wings? Yes, if it's good idea, then definitely you should play on the both wings. Okay, thought of knight c6, knight b5, knight d6, but you said it already. Okay, many a times here in the stream you asked me to show my game, right? And I have selected one of my good games against one international master. Okay, I played this game long back against Prasanna Rao. Now he's an international master. At that time he was a 2200 player. Okay, so do you want to see my game? Do you want to see my game? Yeah, anybody who wants to learn, you can definitely contact me on my email ID. Okay. Do you want to see my game? I hope you want to see me. You want to see my game also? I'll show you how I played with the isolated queen pawn. One of my own games. Yeah. So let's look at my game, which I played with the white pieces, and it was an interesting game. That's what I will say. So this game was played in the year of quite long back, in the year of 2007. Okay, in Commonwealth Chess Championship. Oh, what happened? Okay, fine. Everything is cool now. My rating at that time in 2007 was 2065. Okay, I was white in this position. My opponent, who is now an international master, was a good strong player at that time, Prasanna Rao. His rating was 22 to 8. Okay. Okay, guys. So thank you. So this is the game, and then we will be. Well, my current rating is 2037, but my highest rating was 2184. In last 1 or 2 years, I decreased a lot of rating points, but it's okay. I'll come back. So here in this position, in this game, I started with d4. Okay, then nf6, c4, e6 is played. Knight f3 was played by me. Then d5, knight c3. Then bishop b4, bishop g5, and knight bd7 was played by my opponent. Here e3 was played and c5. Here queen c2 is played, h6. Okay, I'm going through the initial moves a little bit quickly because our main point of this game is coming to the position which is very important. Okay, so bishop h4, then castle, then I played bishop d3. He captured on c4. Now you can understand the position is going to be the isolated queen pawn position very soon. Bishop takes c4, c takes d4, e takes d4, and we have arrived at the isolated queen pawn position. Okay, so now the thing is that, okay, the pawn on d4 is a weakness. I agree. My bishop I already played on this diagonal. It is also sitting on good diagonal. Black is there on b4, but usually we know this thing that the bishop belongs to e7 square, but not on the b4 square. Okay, not on the b4 square. And one more thing is that the rooks and everything is yet to be developed. So this is just the developing phase which is going on. So my opponent played queen c7 in this position, and now I calmly played bishop b3. Obviously bishop d3 is also one of the possibilities in this position, but I thought putting the bishop on this diagonal is a good idea. How many of you will understand? Okay. Guys, please focus back on chess. Okay, please focus back on chess. Here the bishop on c8 needs to be developed. So black decided to play, okay, black decided to play b6. He wants to play bishop b7 and put the bishop on this diagonal. I said, okay, you want to play that, I'll also castle and develop my everything. Now bishop b7 is played. So yeah, so here I played bishop g7, bishop g3, attacking the queen on c7 square. And one more thing is there, that the knight might be jumping on d5 square. I understood this thing, but before he goes for anything, I thought like, okay, I will capture the queen on c7, means I will attack the queen on c7, and he needs to play something. He played queen d8 in this position, and I played queen e2 just to support the knight on f3, because my opponent was threatening to capture on f3. So I am regrouping my pieces slowly and gradually. But as the queen is played on d8, we can see that whenever my rook will be played on d1 square, there will be some kind of pressure on the d file. Okay, there will be some pressure on the d file. So here black played knight h5. I played rook a d1. As per as I was saying that I need to put the pressure on the d file. So here he captured on g3. This is also good. Now here I captured with h takes g3, because capturing with the f pawn is also one of the possibilities, but I thought like the d pawn will be too much of weakness. and I need to put the pawn on f2 so that there will not be any kind of check on this diagonal. Okay, so h takes g3 is played. My opponent played knight f6 and I placed the knight on e5. I understood that okay, he is going to put the knight on d5. Until now everything is normal. He played his rook, he is also developing the pieces, and now finally I decided to play queen d3 in this position. My idea is very clear that I want to play bishop c2 and then I will be putting pressure on this diagonal. If he plays g6, then the knight on e5 will be capturing the pawn on g6 square. Is that clear until now, guys? Please let me know. Yeah, now bishop c3, definitely he can instead of knight h5, well, instead of this thing you want to capture here, well, you can capture. Knight e4 doesn't really bother me. I can simply go for c4 in this position. Even if he captures here, then okay, the position is still very simple, and I can always play knight e5. The rook will come on c1 and d1 square. I will put the knight on e5. This is just the normal position. Okay, this is the normal position. So knight h5 was played, and he played like this, and I came here rook c8, and then here I played queen d3 to put pressure on this diagonal. Okay, so queen d3, he played queen c7. He is also putting pressure on the c file because he wants to capture here, and the queen is also coming here. And now here in this position I played knight d5 because I did not wanted to any kind of exchange on the c3 square, so I played knight b5. Queen b8 is played, and now I dislodged the bishop from b4 square by playing a3. The bishop went back to d6 square, and now I calmly played rook f e1. So by playing all these moves, okay, by playing all these moves, my development is quite completed. And look at black's pieces, they are not that threatening on me. Okay, there means the pieces are there, but they are not that threatening. But if I get the chance, okay, if I get the chance, then this diagonal is one of the key diagonals in this position. Yeah, I hope that you can read my name. I am white in this position. I played in the Commonwealth Chess Championship in 2007 in Delhi. The date is also written there. So here black played a6. He also thought like, okay, my knight on b5 is a very strong piece, I should go back. So I went back with knight c3, and the pressure on f7 and e6 is still there in this case. So here my opponent, means Prasanna Rao, should have understood that the pressure is huge on these two squares, and he should have played rook e8 supporting the pawn on e6 square. Okay, he should have played this move, and there is no sacrifice or anything on e6 which is going to happen because it is a well protected pawn. Okay, but he played queen a8. He thought like, okay, he is also going to exert pressure on the g2 pawn, but I thought like, okay, even if you want to capture the pawn on g2, you can capture it, but I am going for your king side. So here, okay, knight f7 was one of the best moves in this position, because if he captures here, then after rook takes e6, the thing is that I am attacking on bishop on d6, as well as if the bishop moves away from this diagonal anywhere, then rook e7 is a good idea, or I can even play rook takes f6 in this position, and the rook on f7 will be lost. Okay. Yeah, so here I could have, but okay, I did not play it. I played one move before I went for this thing. I played bishop c2. Okay, again my opponent got the chance to play rook e8. Okay, but as I was little bit aware, not aware of this thing, he was not aware, he played rook f d8, because my initial plan of action was like, if he plays g6, then I was going to capture on this square. Okay, or even knight into f7 was also one of my ideas in the position, but he did not go for it. He played rook f d8 thinking that okay, his king will be running away in that case. So here my question for you is like, how will you play in this position? As I was telling you, if you have the isolated queen pawn, if your pieces are well placed, in this case my pieces are very well placed, the knight is sitting on the e5 square, the bishop and the queen plus the rooks are there, then you have lots of activity and you need to take advantage of your activity. So how will you take advantage of your activity in this position from right side? Because black's pieces are not well placed in this case. Let's see whether you can get it. Complete variation, guys, not just the one move. Don't be so lazy. I had such a long day today, but still I am continuing showing you the enthusiasm. So show some enthusiasm in your writing also. Knight f7 looks good. Okay, it's not like just looks good. It is not about any person or a girl or a boy. You should tell me with the variation. a little bit more variation. Okay, I'm waiting for you. Let's see whether you can get it. Push d5. Well, d5 is not necessary in this position. The main thing is happening on the king side. Knight f7 followed by queen g6, idea with rook e6. Okay, Atharva has suggested a very nice idea. Very good, Atharva. The idea is definitely that thing only. And the thing is that I captured on f7 in this position, which is a very important thing. Okay. Very good, very good. King takes f7. What guys, if I get the corona then you will not get the sessions every day. So कुछ तो दुआ करो मेरे लिए, अच्छा कुछ अच्छा बोला करो. हर सर्दी कोरोना नहीं होती. Okay, queen g6 is there, king f8, and now rook takes e6. This is quite easy. My idea is quite clear. Black's pieces are not well placed in this position, and I have the idea of rook takes f6 also on the board. Okay, so here the most important thing is like my opponent should have also tried to do something, and okay. So here rook c3 was also one of the moves, but still I'll just play capture here, and black's king is completely exposed in this case. That's what I will say. Okay, that's what the thing is. Here in this position I will prefer this position playing from the white side, although I am pissed down. I have plenty of pawns and the king is also very weak, and the idea of playing bishop b3 followed by queen g6, queen h7 is there. So black is in trouble, that's what I will say. But rook c3 is definitely the best move, removing my important piece in this case. Okay, thank you very much for your blessings guys, thank you very much. So here he played rook c7. He wants to come on this rank, he wants to cover up everything. But okay, in this position if you can find out the best move in this position, which is not the first move, but after some time if you can, I'll be very proud of you. Okay. Okay, thanks for guys for all the support and love which you share with me. I'm really happy for it, and if this support is like this, maybe we will continue for more days. You never know, not just 21 days, maybe more days. So tell me, in this position what would you do? You have all your pieces, you have sacrificed a piece also, you have queen, rook, everything is there. Yes, thanks Butterscotch, Anurag. Harsh Pran means Swarang. Okay, yeah, I know you are kidding. No, d5 should not be, you cannot really slow down in this position guys. Okay, you cannot really slow down in this position, you cannot slow down, you need to open up the position more, and that's what I did in this position. I opened up the position more. I opened up the position more by playing a very nice subtle move, a sacrifice, once again a sacrifice. Well, Atharva's idea of bishop b3 controlling that diagonal followed by rook f6 mate is possible. Well, it is a possibility, bishop b3 is the idea, but when to apply that idea, that is also very important guys. First of all in this position what I did is like I captured the knight on f6, which is the most important piece in the position because that is the defender. Okay, now the defender is gone. Now the bishop on c2, which is not doing that great job, because if I play this move, the rook can come on f7. Okay, the rook can come on f7. So always understand where are the main weaknesses in this position. So I played bishop b3 in this case. After bishop b3, okay, because here if you capture here, then you don't really have any great moves. Okay, you can play like this, king will come here, the rook might give a check, but I can still play king d7 and the king will be running away. So the flight squares are there, and my opponent's main idea of rook c7 was to bring the rook in the game. Okay, to bring the rook in this game. That's why I understood that capturing the f6 pawn will give him a chance to bring the rook in the game. That's why I played bishop b3, covering this f7 square. And another idea is obviously to play queen g8 followed by queen f7 check. Okay, so now my opponent is completely helpless. He played rook d7, trying to control everything, but this did not help him. Now final variation, guys. Please tell me the final variation of this game. If you can tell me, I'll say that okay, these guys can also calculate. These guys can also calculate. I'll think like that. Just let me know the final good variation in this case. You need to be very precise, guys. You need to be very precise, and you should play with all your pieces, not just the one move. I am again telling you guys, you should not just tell me the one move. Raj Kumar has suggested queen g8, king e7, rook e1. Very good, very good. That's what I did in this game. Okay, that's what I did. Queen g8 check, king comes here, and I don't need to play queen f7 because he might be going behind. So here queen f7 is not a mate, guys. Queen f7 is not a mate. King d8 will be played, and okay, you can just capture back and then the position will be repeated. So you need to play rook e1 check. This is also one of the moves in the position which I played. Okay, rook e1, and now he doesn't have any good squares. If he plays bishop e4 in this case, I can simply capture rook here, or I can even capture queen takes a8. The queen will be lost because the bishop on e4 is pinned here. So I brought his king in the game by sacrificing the knight on f7, and then I sacrificed the rook also on f6. Now it is something which we need to get. So rook e5. Now I calmly played queen f7 check. If king f8 is played, now sorry, king d8 is played, now queen f8 is a check and mate, so you cannot really go there. So here in this position he played king d6. Now in this final position, just tell me how will you play. Just tell me last move of the game, if you can get it. Okay, this is very easy, come on, you can get it. How will you finish it off? Queen f7, king d6, and now finish it off. Rook d5. No guys, no. Queen e6 mate. Yes, Somnath has got it. Queen e6 is a check and mate. Queen e6 is a check and mate in this position. If you want to be more flashy, then queen f6, bishop takes f6, and then rook e6 is also a checkmate. You can see black will be having plenty of pieces on the board, but his king is checkmated in the center of the board. This is the great feeling when you checkmate your opponent in the center of the board. I managed to do it thanks to my opponent's mistakes. Okay, but the idea which we got from this position, that when you have the isolated queen pawn in the position, if your pieces are there, place your pieces at right position and take advantage of your space. I had the space in the position, that's why I was managed to do this kind of things. Okay, that's why I was managed to do this kind of things. So knight f7, queen comes. Don't be afraid to sacrifice the pieces, but you need to calculate very precisely. Okay, is this the GG? Good game. If you like this game, do like the stream, guys. Do like the stream, because that's what shows that you are appreciating what I am doing. It shows, it gives me the confidence also. Do like the stream, guys, and you should share also. So king e7, rook e1, and this was the final culmination. Knight f7, rook f6, bishop b3. A very silent move. Bishop b3 is very important in this position. So you need to find out small things. Okay, you need to find out small things in the position. I hope we enjoyed and you learned important things also. You learned important things also in the isolated queen pawn, and I hope you enjoyed. So guys, what did you learn today about the isolated queen pawn? Do let me know in the chat now, and then if you have any questions, ask me. Otherwise, we'll end the stream. Yeah, guys, Rajkumar, you can definitely see what I am thinking, the analysis which you are doing. Just be more alert in the stream. You will understand. I don't need to answer that question. I hope all the questions related to like what to see in the middle game are already being answered indirectly. So you should have more attention to the stream. Okay. Thank you very much, guys. Yeah, in the next stream I'll show. Today I have selected only one game. Next time I'll definitely show. I have many good games. I have played against almost all top players in India, except I did not play against Vishy, Harikrishna, uh, and Parimarjan Negi, but rest of the players I have played. I have played against Vidit, then Adiban, then all top players, like whoever is there, I have played against them. And quite good games, very interesting games, and with this game will always stay with me because in that tournament where I played I was unrated and I played against Vidit, and he was 2000 player at that time. I lost against him, but I won against other 2000 players and I got my rating in that game, in that tournament. So with this game is always there with me. Okay. Well, Ajit Shegavkar is asking about Unacademy fees. Okay, I'll just show you like what is Unacademy. Okay, I'll just show you what is Unacademy, and then I'll show you like what is there. Just 1 minute. Just 1 minute, guys. So Unacademy is a platform where many top players are teaching. Many good, strong, you can say, trainers are also doing it great job there. Okay. So I am here, maybe in the corner I can be. Yeah. So guys, this is the page. I'll just show you what is Unacademy and then we'll go to the, so Unacademy, we'll just see. Okay, I hope. Yes, I want to become a grandmaster. Okay, so here chess section is there. If you go there, the Unacademy is having good courses by Vishwanathan Anand and many good players, and you can see that my course is also there. Samay Raina, everybody's favorite, is also teaching there for the beginners. Praveen Tipse sir is there, Vishwanathan Anand is there, Rahil is there, Vidit Gujarati course is also there, Shekhar Sahu, all the good strong players, even Abhijit Gupta. I played against Abhijit Gupta 2-3 times and my game is there against Abhijit Gupta. You just search it on Chessers India, Atul Dahale versus Abhijit Gupta, you will get that game. It is analyzed by me, Sagar Shah and Abhijit Gupta. So you can check it out. So the point of showing you this thing is like there are many good courses which are there. On my first course was the Art of Attack. Second course which I am having in this month is Art of Defense, and you can get the subscription very affordably. If you can see that 1500 for 1 month and all these things are there, but if you use my referral code, that is Atul87, then you will get the 10% discount. If you really want it, you can definitely do it, and I will suggest you to go for the higher months like 24 months. Then the like a per month will be just 450 rupees, then 600 if you go for 12 months, and the fees is very affordable because you will be able to learn from all the good players and coaches who are very strong coaches, and definitely that will be very useful for you because the fees is not too much for spending in a month if you are getting all the content. Because personally speaking, for me the dream was even to talk with Vishwanathan Anand at least once, and that dream got completed. And you can even interact with him. You can send him message the way you are sending me messages. You can definitely do that with Vishwanathan Anand, Vijit Gujarati, and everyone, because if you subscribe, the crowd will not be that much there, and you will definitely able to learn a lot. So very quality content is there. Do subscribe, guys, and you can definitely use my code, that is Atul87, and I hope it will be useful for you. Okay. So guys, with this note, I will take your leave for today, and we will be meeting tomorrow with some interesting topic. Maybe tomorrow and day after tomorrow we will be having guest. For 2-3 days we will be having guests. Some of my friends are going to come, so I'll not reveal it right now, but my friends are going to come on the stream. Yesterday Niklesh Jain, my very good friend, he came. He was our first guest. Tomorrow also somebody is going to come. Day after tomorrow also somebody is going to come, and after that day also somebody is going. So Friday, Saturday and Sunday will be streamed with my friends. Okay. So middle game book suggestion. Well, Sanjay, I'll just say that for middle game you can definitely read Arturo Isupo's series. Then Jeremy Silman's book you can read, and many other books are also there. But I will just say this thing, that whichever book you are going to read, complete that book. Okay, and repeat the things which are said in that book. Reread that book. Try to understand what is given in that book, because collecting the books is something which everybody does in this world. Okay, you might be having plenty of books, not only for chess but for other things also, but how many books you have completed, how many books you have tried to understand, that is also very important. So even if you have one book, you can learn many things from that book if you give more attention to that book and if you reread it. Okay, reread it. Okay. Okay. So see you guys. Thank you very much for being there, and do like the stream if you are going to leave.